did have a resident council meeting earlier this week, so I gave a report there, and I don't have a whole lot new to report. I figured that today would be more of a question and answer type day, but just to give you a brief update, the assisted living and health center visitations are going very well. We've started them this week, and we've been doing 20 minutes at a time. I've talked with a few of the family members that have been a part of the assisted living visitations, and they've been very happy. One actually indicated he was a little bit apprehensive, of what it was going to be like, and just ended up having a phenomenal time visiting. A lot of people feel that the 20 minutes is the appropriate amount of time to be visiting, for those levels of care. So that's working out well, and we're continuing to move along with our plans there. We don't have a whole lot of people registered to use the outdoor visitation stations for independent living, which started today. But there are some people from out of state that are coming and going to be taking advantage of that. And then I guess the biggest thing is going to be those that have been getting picked up. They don't have to go over to the administration building. They can get picked up on campus, have things dropped off on campus, and that might work out well also, because I do know that there's some people from that have children out of state or out of the area who come and drop off groceries and things like that too. So hopefully there'll be more opportunity for visitation for those that don't have cars, don't have family in the area, and that will work out well. Today we're doing testing for our health center employees again and residents. So last week everybody was negative. We're very happy about that. Looking forward to that being the results again this week. And the state of Florida testing requirement of every other week ends next week. So we're waiting to see if that's going to get continued or not. But the health center weekly testing requirements based on percentage of positivity in the county just started with Centers of Medicare and Medicaid, and we are anticipating that St. Johns County is going to be dropping below the 5%, which would have us being tested once a month as long as we don't have any positives here on our campus. So that's what's going on there. You probably saw the concrete being laid along Linger Longer Lane. So to the best of my knowledge, as of Saturday morning, people will be able to traverse the outer parts of the North Campus along the creek. The middle sidewalk has not been repaired yet, so that will still be blocked off, but you'll be able to get around on the outer parts of the walking areas. So looking forward to that. And then for those that go to the fitness, you will need to be utilizing the walking path along the outside of the dining room and the view to get around next week to the fitness center, because the road over on the west side of the campus that takes you to the health center or the fitness center is going to be dug up for the stormwater drainage resolution. So lots coming together. I think I said earlier in the week, starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel on the infrastructure, project, and get things moving along. We're supposed to be getting, I believe, the sod in front of the garden apartments tomorrow. So that will be a pleasant installation after all this time of looking at dirt. So with that, I'll turn it over to you all to ask me questions, things that might be on your mind, and go from there. Yes, Wayne.
Thank you, Mr. Tenney. I have a question about redevelopment. I'm not sure that you're the one to ask or whether this goes to Orlando, but I understand that that the end of this year, beginning of next year, we're supposed to break ground for the memory care unit on Orange Avenue, and that there are going to be some villas put in along that same property that we do own around the house that we don't own. Well, if we are doing that, is that going to delay the new assisted living project that we have?
No. So when Hank Keith was here, he talked about new independent living as a result of the refinancing of the bonds, some money coming from that. We have not made any determinations on what we're doing in regards to independent living yet. Everything is on schedule for the memory care on Orange, and the independent living would not be delaying that. We're moving forward with the memory care, and we'll learn more about the independent living as time progresses.
And part of the redevelopment plan is a new assisted living, I believe, in about the area where the Resident Lifestyle Resource Center is now. A new assisted living to be put up there. I don't know if there's any talk about that.
We haven't done any talk other than what Hank mentioned during his presentation. So I think that he was just reinforcing what he believed had been communicated before in regards to where we would start redevelopment projects. But we have not, at this point, gotten any farther than talking about the memory care assisted living that's happening on Orange Avenue.
Thank you.
A follow-up to Wayne's question is that last I heard there was a waiting list of 17, internal waiting list of 17 for assisted living. Will ILEX, once the memory care center is occupied, be converted into assisted living temporarily pending construction of the new building?
Well, we're probably a year and a half, 2 years out from when the new memory care assisted living is going to be completed. So I think it's probably a little premature for us to decide what we're doing there, especially when we're starting to talk about additional independent living that's going on. So I wouldn't want to say anything that would set expectations one way or the other way. So at this point, the memory care is in replacement of ILEX, and we don't have any, finite plans on what we're doing with the ILEX building at this point once it's emptied out.
Do you have any idea when you are going to provide transportation to church and to the grocery store for independent living people who don't own vehicles?
No, we don't have plans for that at this point. Things do evolve on a weekly basis. There is a conference call that's taken place with the resident council presidents and Orlando and the executive directors. And from time to time, the resident council presidents will bring up a topic that will bring that topic, to the, front burner, as you might say. That's a possibility, but I think that at this point, we're trying to push for more than one person being able to be on a bus for med van transport. And knowing that we can only take one person on a med transport right now, I wouldn't think that multi-passenger transport to church or to the grocery store is, anticipated, in the coming weeks.
I have a question. Oh, excuse me. Has there been any talk about increasing capacity for the meal service, allowing people to sit out in the what do you call this gathering area?
River Lounge?
River Lounge. I would argue the fact that, we're all intelligent people that understand why we need to socially distance. And if meals could be brought out there for people, that would be great and would allow more people to enjoy sitting in and eating.
Well, there is that option to do that. And there's also an option to maybe section off the dining room with a shield and have a screen and have two different entrances and be able to accommodate more people. We can't accommodate more people with the current structure unless we divide it into two areas. And David is evaluating that right now from a staffing perspective. He's hired one server, or another one is being hired, and he's still looking for a third. So we'll see how that goes.
Could we possibly have a same medical assistance on the weekends and holidays that we do during the week?
No, ma'am. I don't think that that's in the business model.
What?
That's not in the business model.
So if we get ill on the weekends, what do we do?
Go to urgent care, call your doctor. Same thing you would do as an independent living person living in another neighborhood.
I know that the business plan is changing. When we came in, of course, that was to be something that was provided. Will those of us who signed the agreement and came in during that time be grandfathered in, because that was part of the presentation given? So it seems like new people wouldn't be able to do that. They'd sign a waiver understanding they couldn't do that, and those who had been promised that would be able to continue to be grandfathered.
I'm not familiar. There was never somebody working on the weekend since I started here. I'm not familiar with somebody working on the weekend previously. There might have been somebody that was working part-time on the evenings or something to that effect. We are, working with filling that position and providing more of a navigation resource, for people that are aging in place or needing to understand their different options. But as far as grandfathered in, I don't know how we would do anything like that in regards to grandfathering, some and saying, well, you could have this service, but others could not. The question was if you get sick. I don't know that we're in a position to be able to do a whole lot for anybody that gets sick. If you get the flu, I don't know that our life resource nurse is going to be able to do too much for you. She's just a nurse.
Yeah, I think I recently had someone I was overhearing a conversation. It was not my conversation, but the conversation went this way. I can't afford to call 911 and have an ambulance take me off. And that was, my thought about that was, okay, what if they need to go and they can't afford it and they call Westminster Woods to say, I need help? Does that, and they get really sick, what kind of liability does Westminster have for that?
We don't have any liability there. We bring physicians on campus as a convenience factor. If you want to utilize the physicians that come here, you can. I know that we're all living with chronic illnesses, and it's important that we stay on top of our medical condition, do our annual physicals. Medicare pays for those annual physicals. You should be doing all that you can to be on top of your chronic illnesses. It's almost like maintaining a car. You know, if you don't maintain the car, you might end up one day on the side of the road with a flat tire. And, you know, none of us want to have to call a tow truck, you know, to help us out or anything to that effect. It's kind of the same way. If we stay on top of things, then we're going to have fewer instances of where 911 might have to be called.
Thank you, Brian. I presented those questions because I've heard them and just wanted to make sure that at some point they got asked. So thank you for that.
I wanted to tell her that when I first moved here, the emergency cord, that if you pushed it, the security guard came and a nurse from assisted living. Both came to your place if you pulled the emergency cord. That was until all this, till March, really. So we did have a nurse and health care, somebody to help us.
I understand that.
But now we don't.
Right. Again, that nurse isn't going to be able to do so much if you're sick, which is what the question was. Yes, Katie?
I think the importance of it is that a lot of us, it's reassuring to have the nurse come over and retake the blood pressure, listen through the stethoscope, and 9 times out of 10 she'll say, I think you're just a little excited, call your doctor, and see what he has to say. But it was reassuring to have somebody else tell you, well, we don't think you need, you're really that sick, you don't have a fever, that kind of thing. But it was reassuring as an old person to be told, and you could make your decision whether to call the doctor or not. But that was in our contracts, that when Cynthia wasn't here, that the security and one of the nurses on duty would come over just to give you a look-see, and then you made the decision what to do. And I know COVID put a damper on that, but it's very important that we have that happening again once we're cleared.
Well, I can understand that it would be reassuring. In the previous question, there was a question about liability. If we were to say, oh, you're okay, I think you're just a little anxious, and you don't go to the hospital, and then something does happen, then there would be liability for the community.
Well, they always say, call your doctor.
Well,
In every instance when they've been to my place, which has been a couple of times, they've always said, these are what your vitals are. Call your doctor, see what he has to say or she has to say.
Yeah, we can check vitals, but we're in no position to be making decisions on if it's appropriate to be going to the hospital or not. And we don't want to be in a position where someone is determining if they should be going to the hospital or not based on what the nurse is saying and their vitals. If you're having a medical emergency, then you need to probably call 911.
Along that line, are you allowed to call a relative? Can they come in and take you to the emergency, which as they're not supposed to be on? That's my
Well,
problem.
now that there's visitations,
well, now
and
it's
people are allowed
a
to,
little bit different, yes.
people can come on campus, they can pick you up, they can drop you off.
now
That
they
would
can-
be a possibility to be able to call a relative and have them pick you up.
Okay.
Are you interviewing for a part-time nurse, and what will her duties be?
We are interviewing for a part-time nurse. We are.
Okay.
And that person will be a backup to Cynthia. And we're also wanting that person to be a resource to people that are living here to make them aware of the different services that are available within the community and outside of the community to help them in their aging process.
two questions concerning Magnolia and others, as a matter of fact. What's the status with the Creekside Gate that is still remaining completely open? And the second, do we have a definite date when all the furniture will get back in Magnolia's lobby?
So we have had some difficulty with the gates, and the gate at Creekside needs a new motor, and we're still waiting for that motor to arrive for it to be installed. It was expected to come in this week, so I don't know if there was any progress on it today or if we're expecting it tomorrow, but until we can get a new motor, we're not able to close the gate. Rod has had some difficulty with our gate company. He's tried to entertain other gate companies, and it's just something that we're having to work with right now.
Okay.
I don't have a date for it. The question was, is there a date for when the Magnolia furniture is going to be returned? It's been taken out for reupholstering. Some new pieces are expected to be coming as well. I have not gotten an update on that. I do think that the paint looks great. The blinds look wonderful. You can look out over the ponds. I realize that it's not all put together right now, and y'all are making the best with what you have. But as we get more information, we'll let you know.
You've hired a new security person?
We're in the process of hiring or contracting with a security company.
Could we please have a picture of them on 266 for maybe a week when we know? Because at night we might have to open our door, someone that we've never met or never seen and we don't know their name. Because I ran into a man on the elevator the other day and I thought he said he's new, and I wasn't sure if he was security or was he maintenance, or could we be informed? It would be great. In the past, we've occasionally had a picture of new people, especially the securities, the ones that come into our homes, like housekeeping or maintenance too.
Yes, once we get to the point of signing the contract and transitioning the services over to the new contract company, we will be giving you a lot more information and making you familiar with that company. I'll probably even have them come and speak, so that they can talk about their services and how they look to support us. And I'm looking at companies that are being utilized by other Westminster communities. And I've gotten the references and everything has been very positive.
The transportation that I asked about, is there a law or something that says you can't provide it right now?
No.
No, there isn't?
I think it's our decision to try to do what we can to keep everybody safe, and we're just not endorsing multi-passenger transportation at this point.
We could all wear masks and gloves. And I saw on Steals and Deals, there's a light, costs $189. You can take it on the bus and it kills all the germs.
Sounds great. Yeah, there's probably going to be a lot of products. I've seen some guns that are spraying disinfectant, and they look like water guns. And they're just spraying disinfectant. I've started hearing about the lights.
It's some kind of a light that kills bacteria and germs, and you can take it on the bus, in your car, or any place. Good. Well, you could do that on the bus, and we could all go for our groceries and to church and every place.
We are sorry that we're not able to provide those services right now, and as it's been represented here by the regular resumption of services in a cautious and safe way, hopefully we'll be able to get to that in the near future.
At some time. It's not gone forever, is it?
No, it's not
Okay.
gone forever. Any other burning questions? Thank you.